Studio AI on AI episode. Critical thinking meets LLMs, EDU prompting and beyond. Welcome back to AI on AI, the podcast where expert AIs debate, dissect, and decode the latest trends in artificial intelligence. I'm your host, and today, we're diving into a truly fascinating topic: translating educational critical thinking into multi-agent LLM systems. Specifically, we'll unpack the EDU prompting framework, which aims to foster critical thinking through large language models.
Thanks for having us. I think the big picture here is that we're at an inflection point where educational tools powered by AI can either help us think deeper or, frankly, make us intellectually lazier. EDU prompting is trying to tip the scales toward deeper thinking.
Right, and it's fascinating how the framework borrows from both classical education theories, like Bloom's taxonomy, and the latest advances in multi-agent AI architectures. It's like teaching an orchestra to play jazz, structured yet improvisational.
Love that analogy. For our listeners, let's break this down. How does EDU prompting work exactly?
Sure, at its core, EDU prompting uses a multi-agent system with 4 specialized agents. Think of it as a panel of virtual educators. One agent brainstorms, another checks validity, a third critiques the reasoning, and the final one synthesizes everything into a coherent response. It's modular, which means you can plug it into existing systems.
And the beauty is that it mirrors real-world critical thinking. For instance, students are taught to brainstorm ideas, evaluate sources, consider counterarguments, and finally craft a thoughtful conclusion. EDU prompting automates this process while encouraging diverse perspectives.
That's a strong pitch. But let's be real. What's the current state of these AI tutors? Can they actually boost critical thinking?
Well, not without caveats. Research shows that most LLMs struggle with multi-hop reasoning and counterfactual premises. EDU prompting addresses some of these gaps by integrating critical thinking theories, but it's no silver bullet.
Exactly, traditional LLMs still fail about 30–40% of the time when faced with adversarial or logically tricky questions. EDU prompting improves accuracy, but we're still far from perfect. It's like upgrading from a bicycle to a scooter, not quite a Tesla yet.
And the data backs this up. In experiments, models using EDU prompting scored significantly higher on benchmarks like Truthful QA and CIER, which test for factual accuracy and logical coherence. But even then, the system isn't immune to overcorrection or bias traps.
Bias traps. Let's pause there. How does EDU prompting handle issues of bias or ethical concerns?
Great question. The framework includes a critique agent that explicitly looks for biases or contradictions in the generated content. It's like having a watchdog in the system. But let's not overstate it. This is a step forward, not the finish line. Bias in training data still seeps in.
And the watchdog analogy is spot on, but it's also a bit of a paradox, right? We're asking an AI trained on potentially biased data to critique its own biases. It's like asking a fox to guard the henhouse.
True, but that's where multi-agent systems shine. By having specialized agents debate and refine each other's outputs, you minimize the risk of single-agent echo chambers. It's not perfect, but it's a pragmatic step forward.
Fascinating. Let's shift gears to real-world applications. Where do you see EDU prompting making the biggest impact?
Education, obviously. Imagine college students using AI tutors for critical writing assignments. Instead of just getting the right answer, they'd engage in a back and forth that forces them to think deeper, like a Socratic dialogue.
And let's not forget corporate training. Businesses could use this to teach employees how to approach complex problems or ethical dilemmas. It's like having a management consultant in your pocket.
I'd add another use case: teacher support. Teachers could use EDU prompting to design lesson plans or grade essays more consistently. It's a way to scale expertise without replacing human educators.
Those are some promising use cases. But let's talk challenges. What's stopping EDU prompting from going mainstream?
Cost, for one. Running multi-agent systems requires more computational resources than single-agent setups. And there's also the question of accessibility. How do we ensure this tech doesn't widen educational inequities?
Not to mention user experience. If the system feels too rigid or academic, students might disengage. It needs to be both rigorous and approachable, like, trying to get a teenager to read Shakespeare by comparing it to TikTok trends.
Ha, I love that. Another challenge is trust. If EDU prompting occasionally gets things wrong, and it will, how do we convince users to stick with it? Trust is fragile, especially in educational settings.
Excellent points. Let's wrap up with some forward-looking insights. What's next for EDU prompting and AI in education?
I think the next frontier is personalization. Imagine EDU prompting adapting to a student's unique learning style in real time. For example, if one student prefers visuals and another prefers text, the system could tailor its outputs accordingly.
Agreed, and I'd add that interdisciplinary collaboration is key. Education researchers, AI developers, and ethicists need to co-design these systems. It's not just about tech, it's about pedagogy and values.
I'll throw in a contrarian take. Maybe we don't want AI to be too good at critical thinking. If students rely on it entirely, they might lose the ability to think critically themselves. It's a fine balance.
That's a fair point. But I'd argue that the real goal is augmentation, not replacement. Think of it as Iron Man's suit. It enhances your abilities but doesn't do the work for you.
Iron Man suit. What a perfect note to end on. Thank you, experts, for this insightful discussion. EDU prompting clearly has the potential to reshape education, but as with any tool, it's all about how we use it. Until next time, this is AI on AI signing off. Stay curious. The focus here is on enhancing critical thinking and analytical reasoning in educational AI systems. Large language models have shown promise as tutoring agents in education. These models can tailor hints, orchestrate lessons, and even grade assignments with near-human precision. However, they struggle with fostering critical thinking and handling counterfactual or adversarial scenarios. Research shows current models fail on over one-third of multi-step questions, with contradictory premises. To address these limitations, the EDU prompting framework was introduced. It combines educational critical thinking theories with multi-agent language model design. This framework employs 4 specialized agents to create critical, bias-aware educational responses. The agents include brainstorming, validity checking, critique, and synthesis components. Together, they aim to produce truthful, logically sound, and multi-perspective answers. The approach bridges critical thinking theories like Bloom's taxonomy and the Paul Elder framework with AI design. Notable techniques include zero-shot reasoning, chain-of-thought prompting, and modular multi-agent collaboration. In evaluations, EDU prompting outperformed traditional single-agent models on reasoning and bias detection benchmarks. For instance, it achieved 94% accuracy on factual recall benchmarks, surpassing prior methods. The system also integrates seamlessly into existing frameworks, enhancing their reliability and reasoning depth. In practical tests with college students, it improved critical writing outcomes and analytical skills. It also demonstrated strong performance in classroom scenarios, particularly for multi-perspective discussions. Challenges remain, such as balancing interactivity with systematic analysis in multi-agent systems. The research suggests EDU prompting could reshape AI tutoring by fostering deeper critical thinking in students. Future directions include expanding its use in diverse educational contexts and refining its modular design for broader applications.